Okay. So a lot of times I feel like when we are in our business in doTERRA, especially at the beginning, even later on, we kind of go from putting one fire out to the other. You start to enroll a team over here, you it's kind of going, you start to jump over here, there's something goes on here, and you're just kind of moving. And it gets to a point where it's almost consuming and you're not really planning what's happening. There's not that mode of creation. It's just reactionary, right? Me and Melissa in particular, this is something we experience a lot because the team's big enough. Um, there's a lot going on, right? And so, Melissa, I'm gonna mute you.
Oh, sorry.
And so when we're in this mode, it's sometimes hard to keep track and keep the vision of what we actually want to have happen, and not what just is happening around us. Because the best growth that we're going to have in our business is when we have the vision, when we put the plan in place, and when we can follow that step by step. And so I wanted to kind of just go over tonight just the 12-month roadmap. It's pretty simple, right? And you can tweak this however you want. I'll put this file up in BreeShare Build probably tomorrow morning, but very simple way. And so basically you're going to go through 5 phases throughout your doTERRA business that you're going to need to keep in mind as you continue to go through this. So the first phase is enrolling, right? How are you going to do that? You're going to be talking to people. You're going to be maybe doing the studies. This particular roadmap is basically based off of doing the studies, but you can keep in mind different things that you can do as well. But then phase 2 is retaining, right? How do we keep those people that we are going to be working with? How do we keep them ordering? How do we keep them happy? How do we give them their 10 exposures to essential oils to help find those 3 to 4 products that they can't live without? And so within that, you're going to be doing your wellness consults, the continuing education, and calling trees, or I can't think, like just scrubbing your organization, I guess is another term for it, right? Looking through your data on your back office and looking and seeing who's ordered, who hasn't ordered in 3 months, maybe giving those people calls, see if they need a little bit of help, that kind of stuff, right? So those are the retaining piece that you're going to have that phase as well. Phase 3, you're building, right? You're going to really expand everything that you're doing. So 6 weeks to elite, doing business builder worksheets, expanding your contacts, everything that might entail, right? And we'll go through this a little more thoroughly. 6 weeks to elite, obviously that's what we talked about last week, right? That's what we're trying to gear towards, or like a launch that we're going to start in April. Expanding your contacts, spending actual time, not necessarily with doTERRA specific, trying to get leads, but expanding your network of people so that then you have more people to contact as you get into those different phases. As far as the business builder worksheets, it's simply everyone's always seen these, right? This is what, Jill has this much volume, this is where she wants to be, this is how many classes we need to do to make that work, all of that, right? And then phase 4 is leading, the mentoring, doing some 3-way calls, and doing your weekly success schedule, right? Those are going to be things that you're going to be doing to lead your team. That weekly success schedule is like the 20 hours that if you're doing that, then you can be successfully running your business, and if everything goes perfect, right? Within 12 months you can be doing some awesome things. And then phase 5, and this is really, I almost hesitate to have it in here because this isn't something that even us as Platinum are worrying about as much. The branding yourself and your leader circles. This is for like Blue Diamond. This is for Presidential Diamond people, right? When you're really, or even Diamond to some degree, right? That's when you're going to start branding yourself, branding your culture, branding. I mean, as you grow your business, you're going to find your niche. You're going to find the things that you want to do, right? You're going to start to attract those type of people. And then as you build that influence and that network, that's where you're going to really start to really build that brand and start that inspirational side of your business, right? And hopefully as you do that, boom, things expand from there. Okay. So
So Brandon, that's interesting because Lorraine was asking about that today. Like she's been struggling that for a while. She feels like she needs to find her branding before she can like really even begin.
and Patrick is the one who taught us this when we were in Prague, right? This was a Patrick time. This is actually on the bus. And really he said, some people who maybe already have kind of a brand or that inspirational side to them, they can pick up really easy and keep that going and do it before they kind of reach those ranks, right? But you're also going to want to have a lot of experience with the business, with all that aspect to really get to a place where you can really inspire people within doTERRA, right? So
at the same time, though, there's little things you can do. One of the things I attended a few years ago, they talked about branding, and we had a little breakout session with it.
mm-hmm.
And I've thought a lot about that too. And I feel like I really can't do like big branding stuff, but there's little things I can do. That's when I started changing how I use my Facebook. Instead of using it as a rant page, I wanted to be thought of as a very positive and uplifting person. And that's when I started seeking out the uplifting quotes and really thinking more about what I put on Facebook and how I want people to see me as a person, as a public person.
Yeah. You've done an excellent job with that.
Well,
Yeah,
I would have never done that without that branding class that I took, because it really made me stop and think maybe I can't do something like really, really big yet, but I can start taking those baby steps. And it's about what we want to accomplish in the future. We may not be accomplishing it now, but start thinking about those goals and how we want to be seen and maybe what we want to attract down the road. And so there's little things we can do for that.
Absolutely. And Patrick's whole thing with that was we want to lay the groundwork, right? I mean, as we're building the business, we want to be laying that. But a lot of time people get so caught up, they get to elite, premier or silver even, and then they're like, oh, I've got to like step back and I've got to build this massive thing around me. And a lot of people get stuck in the muck in that. And when they're doing that, it causes a lot of problem. Hang on just 1 second.
I was going to say, I can hear Lila yelling in the background. Oops. Max isn't even home yet. He went to a church thing.
No. Single parenting and doing all this is super fun right now.
It's just
Is
real
Max
life.
still gone?
Oh yeah, I'm still
Is Max
on.
home yet?
No, Max is not home yet.
Oh.
Right. But anyway.
Sorry.
But no, so absolutely. I don't want to take away, because we can be doing things, and Stacey, like Melissa said, like the positivity, like the positive energy that you have going on your page, and not turning it into something that's negative. Like, that's awesome. And that's obviously what you want to build your brand around, right? But so I'm just thinking, like, as far as these phases, like when you really can when you can benefit the most people, when you can build and have the most inspirational effect on people, is obviously when you get to those higher rankings. So be thinking about it, be doing those little things, but like that's definitely not or shouldn't be like the massive focus around it. All right. So with these key aspects in mind, right, I want to kind of look at the sheet here. So very simple. You've got 12 months, and it's not like just January, February. You can, wherever you're starting in the cycle, right, you can do it. And just listing it month by month. I was trying to find, okay. But sometimes it's very interesting, and it's sometimes hard to see that big picture right in front of you, right? And so, like, here it is. I was actually going to try and scan it and put it in there, but like here's ours. so one of the things that me and Melissa did is we kind of started this in February, right after I came back from Prague, and kind of listed out like, well, what are some of the things that we're doing? So we obviously made sure that we put, like when leadership was, in April we're doing the 6 weeks to elite, so we're starting to put that in there. We put like the Facebook classes that we're doing in those time slots, right? And then as we're looking at this, it's like, okay, what phase is, some of these phases are going to be kind of combining areas, right? But, sorry, I got so many papers around here. But like, as we launch that 6 weeks to elite, well, what are we going to be doing as soon as that 6 weeks to elite? So what's, that's basically April and May is 6 weeks to elite. And that's that building phase, right? So then what are we going to be doing? What we need to be doing in June is kind of building into that phase 2, where we're doing more of the wellness consults, continuing education, and retaining those people, right? So kind of labeling and putting all this on there, like here's building phase, and we're going to work on that for a while. And then here's retaining phase, and kind of making sure that you're covering all your bases and involved with that. So is that making a little bit of sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this idea.
It seems so simple, doesn't it? But really,
yeah,
it, like, as soon as me and Melissa kind of started to put it together, it was like, yes. And, it was funny as we were doing this in Prague, it was another one of those assignments you couldn't get on the bus until you did, right? But as we're doing this in Prague, we're like writing, like, oh, this should be a 200 PV promo month. This should be this, and kind of building around some of those aspects too. Like, well, around convention, well, what are we going to talk about around convention, right? That's when we're going to talk about those new products. We're going to really build that. And it's always good to put like when you think the 200 PV promo months are and stuff like that. But as we're seeing, doTERRA doesn't necessarily keeping with those traditional ways of doing things now, right? We're getting flash sales, we're getting more BOGOs. 200 PV promos are not going away by any stretch of the imagination, but we just don't maybe know as much, but we can kind of be penciling some of that stuff in to really build around it. Now, the other thing is obviously looking on doTERRA.com on the events page and looking for you just posted about yours in DC today, Brooke.
yeah.
I can't think what they're called right now.
P.S. It's like the same day you guys were planning to come down. I know. Amber really she's the one who tagged me, and she's like, Brooke, we should go to this. I'm like, oh, that's the wrong day. So I want to talk to you guys about that, but.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Right.
We could talk later, but no, I do like this though, because I feel like most months it's like it comes up to the month, I'm like, okay, what am I doing this month?
Right.
And it's kind of like I'm trying to scramble.
And
like I had lots of ideas for March, and none of them ended up happening because I was not planning ahead enough.
Well, it's hard sometimes, right? And chaos and life happens and all that stuff, and then you kind of get lost in that too. But like, I put it in pen, but it's really something you should like put in pencil almost, right? So you can or cross out even and just move to another month or whatever it is. But putting that focused plan is where, and not just what's next month, but looking at what's 6 months down the road, and where what phase of that you're going to be in is important. So yeah, like I said, super simple today as far as what I wanted to talk to you about. But really, the important piece is I want you guys to have this material so that you guys can print these out and you guys can actually do this. So that I was thinking about maybe doing like a Facebook post in a while. But we can all go, I'm reading this as I'm going. We can all start to kind of put this game plan in place, and then bring up any concerns, any thoughts we have, and make it actually happen, right? be along with each other in this whole process. I think where we're going to be trying to do that launch in April, this is a great opportunity to kind of say, okay, well, what's after that, right? Like I talked about, that's that April. So April, May, you're going to be really working on that aspect, build into the retentions, you know, and then continue where you want to take your business from there, right? So I will get that up tonight so that everyone can have it when they want to. Sorry. Stop this. Okay. Oh yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about tonight as far as just, but like 12 months roadmap. Where do you want to take your business in the next 12 months? What is it that you want to really truly accomplish, and put the plan in place. I should mention the other thing that Patrick did mention. He's like, put your family vacations in it, because that's going to impact around your business a lot, right? If you've got camping trips coming up in the summer, if you've got whatever, like that's not obviously a good time to be planning an area where you're going to launch something or whatever, right? That might be where you're in more of the retaining and well, even hopefully enrolling a little bit too if you're in those groups and stuff. But yeah, so that is all we were going to talk about tonight. Anybody got any questions?